Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Thank you for coming. I'm so glad you could make it. This is really exciting to have a dinner party like this. I know I haven't done this in a really long time, but having a decent sized group over is going to be a lot of fun. You're a little early. I'm still finishing up, but that's okay. What's that? I know. Dinner looks delicious, doesn't it? We're having a panzanella bread salad. It's going to be terrific. What's that? Oh, it actually looks better, presentation-wise. Is that what you mean? You know, I've been working in restaurants for a really long time, so I've picked up some tips and techniques that I use over the years. And it's not anything really difficult. It looks different because it's in a restaurant and you think to yourself, I could never do that at home. When in actuality, it's so easy to get everything done and make your plate look absolutely beautiful. Do you want to learn some things while you're here before everyone else gets here? I thought so. Here, let me teach you some things. One of the first things you need to think about when you're thinking about the presentation of your food is what you're serving and the size of plate you're going to serve it on. How many people are invited, if it's a group, family style meal, or if you're doing a course dinner, is all going to dictate the plates that you use. For example, these are all some of my dinner plates. I have these nice little small ramekins that I'll do little things in. Nice little appetizers, little half cups of soup to start off with, in a amuse-bouche, something like that. But I also have these nice 2.5 cup bowls. Really simple, the white color makes foods pop. Then I have these smaller plates. They're about 5 inches across. These smaller plates are great for appetizers if you're doing courses or salads, something really small to get you going. I also have these lovely dinner plates. These are about 7-inch dinner plates, and they are entree size, but you don't need to fill the whole thing. We all know the My Plate recommendations, but just because of the size of the plate doesn't mean you have to put everything in every corner or in the quadrants like it shows. Here, let me show you. This is the USDA My Plate, and we want to follow this to a T, but it doesn't mean that our food has to be in exact quadrants. Instead of the 4 corners and the milk glass up above, you want to think more layers or sections. There's some really cool techniques that I use in order to do that. Because we're doing a larger dinner party tonight, I'm going to do family style, but I am going to course it out so that there's entrees, appetizers, and desserts that all come out family style in one large plate. There's some different plates I like to use for this. Let me show you just so you get a little idea. This is one of my cutting boards. I love using this for crostinis or cheese plates, anything, because it's a little more interesting than using a regular dinner plate. Catches the eye, adds a nice little wood pop, a rustic feel. This is another plate that I would definitely use to plate up my panzanella this evening. The thing is my panzanella is really red with all the tomatoes in there, and this is kind of going to mull everything together. What I really want is something that's going to make it pop, which is where my big bad white plate comes in. This is my baby. I love this. It works for everything. If you want to put entrees, appetizers, anything on there, this is the perfect way to do so. I'm going to teach you 3 little techniques that I like to use, and I've named them my fun little nicknames. They're probably technical names for them, but this is the way I remember them, and this is what makes them really fun for me to talk about with people. The first technique I'm going to teach you is what I call the rustic chic technique. This utilizes your main protein, which is going to be substituted by a piece of bread today, down on the plate. Essentially what you're going to do is create a base for the food that you're plating. This is going to be the central piece underneath. It can be chicken, it can be steak, it can be pork, it can be tofu, it can be tempeh, it can be anything you want. But for today, we're going to substitute bread. Then what you want to do is take, like our salad, and create these nice little piles. But you want to keep them all in kind of a nice line, so the color kind of washes over, and it's not just a giant pile on top. Now, what you want to do is form this so it creates a little backsplash. You're kind of creating a nice line. A nice little topper idea would be to use a basil crown. Always reserve some of the herbs that you use. Adds a little extra something to make that plate look a little more special. The second technique I'm going to show you is what I like to call my fancy pants technique. This technique makes uses of one of your biscuit cutters. These are really great for just cutting biscuits or cookies or anything, but when you've got these high sides, you might as well make use of it. So the fancy pants technique actually starts off with one of these. This is another one of my fun little kitchen gadgets. It's not even a kitchen gadget, it's a ketchup squirt bottle. You could use an old mustard bottle if you had it, an old honey bottle, anything. Anything with a small hole up top that you can put whatever sauce in you want. Now what I'm going to do here is make a nice little drizzle on the plate. Just a little design to add a little extra something. That makes it look all nice. Then you want to center your biscuit cutter in there. The biscuit cutter is going to act as a little mold. And then you want to pile this salad into the center. Try not to let it move because you're going to move all of the little scrapes. And what you want to do is pack it nice and tight in there. The tighter you pack it, the better it's going to stay. So, while I'm holding this, I'm going to pack it down in there just to make sure that I get it all in there. Because there's a lot of oil in this salad, I'm not going to do what I normally do, which is to spray down the sides so that it comes up a little bit easier. The oil in the salad should be enough to just allow this to lift up. And you have yourself a nice little pile. This is super fancy pants. And again, just take a nice little basil crown, lay that on top. People think you went the extra mile when really it took you an extra 2 seconds. The last technique I like to use is what I call the everydayer, because I use this every single day. Whenever I make my dinners, whether my protein be chicken or steak or pork, like I mentioned in the beginning, tofu, tempeh, whatever I want, or even if it's just a nice pile of vegetables, I also try and have some whole grains in there. And this is where you can really use a method like this. Whole grains like brown rice, farro, or quinoa really work well with this method. So for the everydayer, what I like to do is just create a nice pile in the center. And it's not really a pile, it's more like a fancy pile. What you're going to do once you have that pile is shape it up and then take your protein, another slice of bread, and you're just going to lay it over the top. It elevates that protein, makes it look a lot nicer. Let's go back to that sauce thing. Remember, save your old mustard bottle. It works like a charm. And we're just going to do the same method. A little drizzle over the top adds a little extra something something. If you want, you can even add a little extra feta cheese, which is what I've got, or any kind of salad, anything, to kind of add a little extra oomph to that plate. So here are 3 methods that you can use to make your everyday plates look a lot better than normal. This will take your ordinary dinner to extraordinary. What's that? Dessert? Oh, don't you worry. I've got dessert in mind too. Dessert's one of those that people lose sight of a lot of the time. Something that's delicious gets lost when we can make it look absolutely fantastic. For dessert tonight, I have a little extra whipped topping lying around from a lab I did a day or 2 ago. But don't worry, it's still delicious. I kept it in the fridge, following proper safety technique, of course. Now what I've done with this whipped topping is I'm going to take it to a new level. By using this wine glass, you can use a martini shell, you can use anything. I'm going to elevate it. I added some strawberries into the bottom because otherwise we're just eating whipped dessert. And like I said, color is key. The more color you add, the more antioxidants, nutrients you add. And that's what you really want. So let me grab that whipped topping real quick. Now what I've already done is use one of my handy dandy Ziploc bags. You open it up and fold it over and then use a spatula to swipe all the whipped cream into the corner. Once you've got that, you can zip top it closed. Now, I am going to cut off the corner of this. And you can do it as little or as big as you want. Because of the size of the plate I'm using, I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger. What you need to remember when you're piping whipped topping like this is you want to hold from the top and not from the bottom. You just want to direct your hands from the bottom. So, as I'm squeezing from the top, I'm just going to pipe all the way around and create this nice top and a little peak just to make it look that much better. So, that already looks really nice, but what we're going to do is make it look even better. This microplane is my favorite tool in the world. You can use it with zests, with spices, anything to top a dish. What I like to use it for with desserts is chocolate. Just grate a little bit over the top, and you've added an extra little something something to your dish that people think you spent loads of time on. Doesn't that look lovely? Another thing I really like to do is some of the fruit from the bottom can be used in another plating technique. This is a really fun way to add an extra little garnish. I'm going to take my paring knife, and using proper knife skills, I'm just going to make little tiny slices. Thinner is better, but since it's a big fruit, you can make them about a 1/4 inch thick. You want to go almost to the crown and just slice down here. And then what I like to do is fan it out. And this creates this beautiful crown that you can plop on top. And that makes for wholly lovely dessert that everyone freaks out about, when in actuality, it didn't take you that long and it looks a lot better than you think it does. Do you have any questions? No, but I bet you're going to go home and use all these techniques, aren't you? That's what I like to hear. Well, thanks. We're just going to finish up the rest of dinner here.